Alright, I'm going to go do a video on how to take care of steppe runners today. I have 4 steppe runners in this tank. It's an Exoterra medium-low, I believe. It seems to fit 4 comfortably. I could probably do 5 in here. They are on Sani chips, and the most important thing I've found with these guys when you have several of them is to have lots of hiding places, and I guess more than one basking spot as well. This is their primary basking spot here, the pile of rocks that they all like to sleep in, and this is usually about 100 degrees, and they'll hang out here for most of the day. They really like to bask in this area. I also have some wood and cork back there that they can bask on, and that cork is right under their UV light, and they will bask under that as well. They're all being a little bit camera shy right now. They also have a small cork hide, and this is usually a hide as well. There's always at least one of them hanging out in here. Usually has a lid, but they push it off all the time. I didn't bother replacing it today. As you can see, they have multiple feeding stations. Again, with multiple lizards, I always recommend having more than one feeding station. These guys do tend to overeat, and they will regurgitate if they eat too much. So if you're feeding worms and roaches, only put a few per feeding station. Normally only one lizard finds it at a time, and whoever finds it first eats all of the food out of the bowl, everything until it's gone. So I found it's better to feed less is more with these guys. Several times a week I do feed with tongs. As soon as they see the tongs, they know to start begging for food, and they'll come right up, and I make sure that all of them get at least a couple worms or a couple crickets each. They will eat anything that moves. I have them on dubia roaches, crickets, mealworms. They'll eat waxworms. Anything that's appropriately sized, they will take readily. Very easy to take care of. They also do drink out of water bowls. I have seen all 4 of them going up and drinking at the same time out of a water dish, so I always make sure that they have water available to them. And once again, they're on the Sani chips of the lizard litter. I find it's very lightweight. They could be on sand. A lot of people do keep them on play sand. I prefer the Sani chips because it's much lighter weight. Again, both substrates are very easy to spot clean. These guys don't tend to eat their substrate, especially not if you have the feeding bowls or if you're tong feeding. You don't really have to worry about impaction. Their basking spot, their primary basking spot, does get up to about 100 degrees. At night, their lights do go off, and I let the temps get down to the ambient temperature in the house, which is usually in the winter time, low 70s, maybe high 60s. These guys can handle cooling temperatures in the winter, so I'm not too worried about temperatures getting down to the 60s overnight. They seem to do just fine with that. Once again, UV is very important for these guys. They are diurnal, which means they're awake during the day, and they do bask under UV lights, so it's very important to have that for them and replace the bulb regularly. Sometimes they get picky if it's not moving. There we go. And again, I do this 3 to 4 times a week. I try to make sure that each of them gets food. They do get a little bit competitive over just because I can only feed one worm at a time with these tongs. But with practice, you'll get the hang of it. And making sure that each of them eats at least a couple of worms is usually good. I like to supervise feedings as often as I can. They are burrowers, but they do tend to be more visible the more hiding places I give them. Kind of an oxymoron, I suppose, but it really seemed to work. Originally I only had one little hide and I just never really saw them, but having several hiding options for them really makes them come out. They're more secure, and I frequently see 4 of them all basking together on the same rock pile. Other times, I'll get a dominant one and he'll be king of the hill for a little while, but no violent aggression. Mostly it's just dominating over food. That's the only dominance I see with these guys. Great little lizards, great little pets. They're full grown, so they only get about 6 or 7 inches. And like I said, the nice thing about them is they are communal. You can have several. But care is very similar to bearded dragons.